Hi students, this is the lesson that I wanted to give you on Friday, but we had the tornado warning, so unfortunately we won't be able to do this in person, but it's still important that you get this information on women and agriculture. There are two essential questions that are going to guide uh, this video today. The first one is, how do female farm workers' lives and roles in LDCs differ from those in MDCs? And the second essential question is, what is the relationship between gender equality and food security? Before I go on, please make sure that you have the handout that I gave you, that is titled, again, Women in Agriculture, and it starts off with the first essential question: um, how do female farm workers' lives and roles in LDCs differ from those in MDCs? So, what I want to show you first is this map um, that is right here. And if we take a look at this map, first of all, I want you to be able to realize what type of map this is. And if you can write that down in the margin someplace on your note sheet, that will be great, and I'll check it when I check the rest of your notes. Um, and then just take a moment, look at it. What stands out to you? Obviously, there's something really big that should stand out to you. Um, but again, the title of this map is Agricultural Woman. And um, over here it says, of all the female agricultural workers in the world, 39% live and work in India. The arable agriculture produce of India includes jute, which is a type of grain, if memory serves me correctly, rice, oilseed, cotton, sugarcane, wheat, tea, and potatoes. Indian pastoral agriculture includes farming cattle, water buffalo, goats, poultry, sheep, and fish. Over half of the female agricultural workers in the world are in southern Asia. The United Arab Emirates has the lowest percentage of the population who are female agricultural workers. This map of female agricultural workers, where Asian territories are large, is almost an inversion of the per person distribution of working tractors, where the most are found in richer regions. And then here is the ranking. So, most and fewest women working in agriculture. And if this map didn't get the message across to you enough, then you can definitely look at this pie chart, which is a visual of what I just read to you here. Okay. So before I guess show you the answer for Roman numeral 1b for conclusion, what conclusion can you come to just based off of looking at this map about um, the roles of women and how it's different in LDCs than from MDCs? Okay, take a moment to write down your answer to that. All right, let me go back. So, what you should have concluded is that obviously a much higher percentage of women work in agriculture in LDCs and medium developed countries than in MDCs. I hope you know that MDC stands for more developed countries. Okay, so let's go on. And go ahead and write that down. Write down Roman numeral 1b. Okay, so let's focus on the role. I'm just going to quickly um, read this to you, but you should already have it in your notes. The roles for women in agriculture are different in MDCs and LDCs. So obviously, women play a larger role in subsistence agriculture and LDCs, and women in MDCs play a smaller role in agriculture. Statistically, in MDCs, women are less likely than men to own farms. And actually, there's nothing that you need to write down for that. But what I really want us to focus on is the second essential question. What is the relationship between gender equity and food insecurity or food security? It all depends. I think on your note sheet it says insecurity, but on the screen here I have food security. But you should know what both of these terms mean: food security, food insecure, security. So unequal access. This is the figure, and I am going to give you the caption right now, or read it to you. Pictured here are women thinning rice plants by hand, while a machine plow operated by a man is used to till the earth along the Mekong River, Vietnam. It is not unusual to find women having different access to technology, whether it is agricultural or information, than men in both the core and periphery. When it says core and periphery, they mean MDCs and LDCs. Differential access to technology, training, and jobs helps to constitute a gender division in workplaces as well as at home. And I try to take the best picture possible, but again, so here's the man, and he's on this plow, and here in the background, these are women um, thinning the rice plants. And then here's the other document too, from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. It says women in agriculture in the Caribbean, as in most developing countries, play important roles in household food security as income earners, nurturers, and managers of natural resources and biodiversity. Although success with which they are able to execute these roles is often mitigated by restricted access to land, labor, capital, and technology. In Jamaica, for example, the majority of women farmers, principally engaged in food production for domestic consumption, are smallholders, the average farm size being significantly smaller in area than that held by men. In that country, then, production constraints related to land tenure and access clearly tend to impact more heavily on women than on men. And research indicated that while women are predominant in domestic and or regional sphere of agricultural marketing, men typically are more actively engaged in the marketing of traditional and non-traditional agricultural commodities to extra-regional and international markets. So what I'd like for you to do right now for number 3, women have unequal access to, is to read back over and look at this picture, this figure again, and read back over document 2 and write down a couple of things that women have limited and or unequal access to. I'm telling you the answer is staring you right in the face. I'm not asking you to come up with anything else, but just take a moment to summarize, especially when we're thinking about this question of what is the relationship between gender equity and food insecurity. And I'll leave it at that because, I can always talk and I want to say something else, but we'll leave it at that for right now. Okay? So, women have limited and or unequal access to the following things, and then you will see how the fact that women don't have access to the following things. I'll give you one example: technology, how that influences food insecurity, either in that town, in that city, that region, or even in that country. Okay? All right, so let's continue on. Turn your paper over and you should see, again, a chart. It says some issues that lead to food insecurity. And then let's talk about ways in which women play a role or roles, positive or negative, in each of these issues. So in this column here, we know that there are factors that contribute to food insecurity. And let's just keep it on a regional level. Insufficient national food supply, high poverty, which decreases household access to food, and low nutrition among household members. think about ways in which women can either positively influence these issues or negatively influence these issues. Now, I know these words positive, negative can kind of like mess you up a little, but what I'm basically asking you to do is okay, take for example, we know one of the issues that leads to food insecurity is insufficient national food supply. What role do women have, or what role can women play to um, increase the national food supply of any particular nation? What needs to happen um, from a woman's perspective? What role does a woman need to have in agriculture in order to increase the food supply? Do the same thing for high poverty. All right, we know that high poverty or the lack of funds is an issue to food insecurity. So, what can women do? What role can women play to help reduce the fact that households don't have access to food? And then the same thing for low nutrition. Finally, what I want you to do, or I want you to know, is that gender equity can actually lead to improvements in food security. And mind you, you already brainstormed some ways in which women can lead to food security, right? And reduce food insecurity. So, what I want you to do is um, either read this speech by Secretary Clinton, or you can actually watch her speech, watch her giving the speech at this link. Just type in this link and it should pop up. But as whether you're reading or you are watching it, you need to underline and highlight specific references to ways in which gender equality for women can lead to improvements in each of the three issues that lead to food insecurity. So basically, what you're doing is you're looking at these three issues and you are going to double check your answers in Hillary Clinton's speech. So if you said, oh, one way to increase the national food supply is to give women more access to technology. Well, where you're going to read or watch Secretary Hillary Clinton's speech, which is, all about how women in agriculture and increasing the equity for women in agriculture can reduce food insecurity. If you do decide to go to the website, and I realize I just gave you the link there, this is what it should look like. And you want to click this, you see her there, this video. And, okay, there you go. So you get it. Okay? Then finally, I have one last thing I want you to do. Let's see, if you go to the last page of your note sheet, I would like for you to just write a summary of women in agriculture, just 3 to 5 sentences, nothing too big, just a way for you to round up everything that I just presented to you. So I'll take us back to these 2 essential questions again. The first essential question is pretty straightforward. I answered that for you. How do female farm workers' lives and roles in LDCs differ from those in MDCs? It's the second essential question that is extremely important as well. Okay, what is the relationship between gender equality and food security? And then make sure that you know what type of map this is. Okay. All right. Take care.